All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Foundational Infrastructure Working Group meeting on the 10th of April, 2025. Uh, Super crowded agenda. We'll start with PRs unless anybody has anything else. Uh, doesn't look like we managed to get many of the reviewed ones passed, but we got a lot of new ones, so that's a type of progress. Uh, okay, this one have only one review.
Is Copilot now also with a member? What's
Yes, we asked it for some help last week. It did a decent job. I don't think it counts as an approver yet, though. All right, so this is still waiting on another review. It's fairly complicated, I think. I forget why we're pulling this data. The default is, oh, we're getting rid of the big static array of, yeah. So nothing urgent unless there's a disk type that somebody really wants or a VM type or something, but it'll get rid of this nonsense. We should probably think about doing something like this for AWS at some point.
for the VM types?
Yes. So like, well, it's always VM and disk type coupled, especially in AWS, because like these types have direct attached storage, and these ones have like three disks direct attached, and these don't have any. And so it's just this big static list that the CPI has to know how to do ephemeral disks, I think. All right, let's look at these ones that are waiting reviews, still waiting reviews. Our team is probably going to be a little bit slow over the next couple weeks reviewing stuff. I poked everybody on a Friday of last week, but we have many things on fire, and then we're losing some people. So this is probably not the current top priority, but
Due to the fire?
no. Fire, no, they're totally unrelated things. Shockingly. Um, but yeah, still waiting on reviews. I don't think anything's changed since last week. Probably same for this one. 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Yeah. Probably all of these, but we'll take a peek. I don't think we had many new ones last week. What's the docs one? Docs cleanup. This was PIP3 changes. Ah, we did cut a release. Yeah, just look at actual Bosch. This release doesn't mention it because it doesn't show up in the CVE tracker because they at that point hadn't published the CVE data. Did they ever publish the CVE data? See before I talk out of turn here. Not really. No. All right. All Matt's versions. They removed the text saying that they would say what was fixed uh in a week. I guess since a week passed. So that did include that fix, but we believe that based upon information given to our security team that the NAT server vulnerability doesn't apply to the way that Cloud Foundry uses NAT server director or CF. Uh, no. Throw that in there since we've cut that now. PR can be updated. Probably just waiting on some reviews. This is this we said was waiting for the Bosch director, but this actually works without the Bosch director changes. It sounds like.
It's just additional cloud config property.
I see.
Need any directory change. Somehow we misunderstood the change.
I'm gonna take your word on all that because I know nothing about IPv6. But I know that there is like, oh wait, so instance groups, Diego inv. Isn't this supposed to be part of the networking config according to that RFC? But I guess it can come in via cloud properties too, as of this PR or something.
Yeah, we thought about different approaches. I think for that it could either be part of the network configuration. I think then Bosch would, or the Bosch director would need to keep track of all the prefixes assigned and stuff. And so this is a more simple approach, I would say, where we just tell, or where just, yeah, you can configure here that Bosch will attach an IPv6 prefix and AWS will take over the attachment and everything and the assignment. That's what this PR was trying to do, introducing this new env property, so to say. Yeah.
Something to think about, which I'm not going to have much of a say in, so I don't really care one way or the other long term. But this sort of bleeds back into the deployment manifest infrastructure details. Like all of the networking and stuff was pulled out into cloud config. And then for the most part, you know, your manifest just says, I want this network. Now there are static IPs still in the manifest and things like that. So it's not like we got all of the infrastructure details out of the manifest, and this is somewhat less of an infrastructure detail and more of a sort of deployment topology thing, I suppose. So an argument could be made either way, but something for us to sort of think about.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is cloud specific, right? This is cloud specific stuff that shouldn't go in the manifest, right? It should go into cloud config. That's the whole point. And you can either put it in VM extensions or in networking or whatever, but it's all cloud properties that are being passed down. Or you can have like you can have network level support.
So it actually, does this work? I thought env is only processed by the agent. How would it?
Yeah.
Oh, or is there an agent change for this already? No, this is
no,
CPI.
actually, the env is just passed to the CPI, and then you can use the stuff.
I don't know if the CPI is intended to look at the env. I think env is sort of like, here's CPI, give this to the VM. So this might not be like a cloud property might be more correct than this. Because cloud properties are like, this is an IaaS specific thing. CPI, this is your job to look at these things. Whereas env is like, this is for the agent. No touch.
Okay. Yeah. There's also some tags and stuff passed to the CPI. That's why I thought, okay, maybe we could try this as a first approach, but then I look into the cloud properties.
Tags are passed via the env, or
I think, yeah.
Tags are cloud agnostic, right? Like they are the same everywhere.
I like that optimism, Ruben.
No, but like the implementation of how to deal with tags is different, and probably the merging is screwed up everywhere. But like from a Bosch perspective, from a manifest perspective, it's the same everywhere. That's not true for this.
Is that not true for this? Like, shouldn't this be something that's IaaS agnostic? Because this isn't related to AWS. This is related to like, hey VM, when you give out IPs to containers, this is your size to use. Isn't that what this is?
It's not necessarily limited to AWS. Yeah, this is just an example for AWS to do it. But yeah, sure, we could also implement it for other CPIs, and basically it just tells the hyperscaler to additionally attach a IPv6 prefix of a defined size to the existing network interface.
I don't know, like Bosch with like this, we have Bosch with dynamic networking, right? And Bosch calculates all these things and manages all these things. Like, ideally, Bosch should be calculating these prefix like managing the prefix sizes.
That's
relying on an IaaS feature that's available in one IaaS and not in another. Like, how this is just going to work in like a place where you have nothing managing the network, right? Where you just have a network with IPv6 networking. Ideally, you want to put in the ranges into Bosch, and it will manage these things.
Yeah, what's to stop Bosch from sort of making these things overlap, because it doesn't know that you're like doing this thing in a different part of the manifest?
Yeah, exactly. That that is true. That's correct. Nothing stops Bosch from It's yeah. If Bosch would assign some IPv6 network, then probably it would overlap somehow. Yeah, because it doesn't know what AWS did. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So this belongs somewhere in the Bosch networking, which, yeah.
It's more work, but I mean, like, ideally, Bosch should be able to manage or hand out prefixes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's also what I thought, but then I thought, okay, maybe this is first the easier approach. But yeah,
And
I
that's
agree
that's
with.
something that could be used a cloud property, like a first pass implementation. Hey, could cloud properties like this is not sort of Bosch knows nothing about this. If you want to like a CPI wants to support sort of an experimental feature or an IS specific feature, like cloud properties are the way to go.
Mhm.
But it feels like that might be like a first step, but like if we really want this, it feels like we do need to pull it back into Bosch somewhere, because otherwise you're going to have the CPI fighting against Bosch for IP allocation, which you don't want. But
Yeah,
as far
yeah,
as experimental features, like it could go into cloud properties, I think.
yeah, I agree. Okay.
All right. It was unblocked for a day. Then we reblocked it. Did I look at this one? I don't think so. Looks like Kenneth wasn't actually a review on it. Where are we? The Bosch CLI? Oh, right. The skip and security verified stuff. Yeah. Yeah, we'll let more reviews happen on that. All right. Exciting new things. Oh, look. It's Aaram. What is this, Aaram? There's not a large description here. I
So
guess
a
it's an
lot
update
of
for Golang Lint
yeah,
CI2.
yeah, a lot of there were a lot of Dependabot PRs trying to update the Golang Lint CI action in places, and those didn't auto work because the config format changed for Golang Lint CI. I finally figured out how to get Golang Lint CI to work on Windows by adding that get attributes, which apparently tells it to use the right file encoding. When linting, the config got smaller. And mostly all these PRs are just adding more no lint directives, which maybe somebody will come back and resolve at some point, but there's a lot more nil check sensitivity mostly, or error check sensitivity.
What is it doing? How are you supposed to error check a defer? Come on, Golang CI Lint.
And yeah, as part of this, I noticed that a few things, like especially the Blobstore CLIs, half of them had linting and testing in GitHub Actions, and half of them didn't. So there's a few more PRs to just sort of add stuff in.
You can't say half of them had it and half of them didn't when you're the one who added the hack.
Well, already had it and then didn't have it at all.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
The one that was tough to get working correctly was the Google CPI, and the linter was barfing on the fact that all of the package names none of the package names under the Google package actually matched the directory structure. So in that case, I just changed the directory names to match the package names, and things were happy.
Probably makes for a large change set.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that Google CPI issue already fixed? So that's been there also like for a month.
What's that, Ramon?
Yeah, there was some upstream library that was messing everything up.
Oh, right.
I don't know if that's
That was
solved yet.
forever ago. That was last time you were here. We forgot about that, Ramon. You can't bring up bad things like that.
Okay.
I don't remember what that was breaking.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I have vague memories of it. Same thing, but larger change sets. I'm not gonna look at it. It's a bunch of stuff
Okay.
there. I broke the browser. This looks related.
This is, yeah, Bosch.io web. Just adding stuff there. The Bosch.io workers are in a pretty weird state. Like I think they were. Like, I'm hoping to get that cleaned up, but because the way that the Bosch.io directory is set up, there are like 3 files or 4 files at the top level that all define the exact same main package. And the only way that Go can handle it is if you target each of those files directly for building or for linting, which seems a little broken. So I'm gonna maybe try to get the worker into a state where it actually looks a little bit more like a, a bunch of independent Go main modules that can operate by themselves. But I haven't
And
gotten the PR
worker's
done.
not a real worker, right? Worker's like run in a CI job, concourse or something.
Something.
Because
Yeah, I don't know.
there's no like workers running in Bosch.io itself, I don't think.
Yeah,
But I'm sort of speculating here, and first realizing that I've definitely seen web and worker before, and I've never thought about, wait, what is worker?
worker has like 5 files at the top level, each of which is its own independent main package, and those are compiled and then used to do things. It should probably just live in the Bosch.io web package, but I haven't thought about that, and maybe I won't ever think about it again.
Yeah, that's sort of been the policy with the Bosch.io code base. Try not to think about it too much. It's it's was made in a different
Um,
era and is very
so
confusing.
this is the one thing that's kind of interesting, and maybe some folks who have admin level access around here might. Let's see if you scroll down. Is this the one that? No, this is actually something broken.
Already fixed
One of
that.
you fixed it?
Yeah, I think Joseph just didn't look.
Okay.
Clicked
He's not
around but didn't
competent.
look.
That's
Oh,
why they're getting rid of him.
the GCS
Yeah.
1.8 linting. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
there were in the branch protection. There were a bunch of things there that I
Why
would
would it
have
be in branch protection? I thought we were talking about actions.
checks for actions and pause
Yeah.
constraints are in branch protection.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And Bosch deployment, same stuff. Or this is the one I just looked at and I forgot to move it over. That would be, no. Are these all you, Aram? I felt like there was like 2 in here, and now I look at them and they're all you.
I think there was one new one that's maybe at the very top that had stuff.
There's
Yeah.
2.
2. We get 2. Bubble. Good thing Ramon's back. Okay, Ed. This is a first step with IP Insider block support IPv6. Yeah, that's a feature that somebody might want. Good news, Aram. You've been assigned as the expert. Hey, wait, I got rid of one. Oh, I didn't move it.
Oh, add me as well.
Why not? And is this one exciting? Oh, it's Ruben. Don't package match when given a tarball.
Yeah, I thought that's a really stupid thing to do when you already have a tarball, right? Why go do package matching? Package matching is useful when you're like iterating locally on like a dev release or something. But what package matching does is like it reconstructs the tarball. And also if there's no matches, it still reconstructs the tarball.
That's kind of silly.
That's really silly. You know that we are uploading a lot of things through a file in Opsman. So we're hitting this thing all the time. We're losing a lot of time on this.
This does, you know, there is a trade-off here, which is if somebody is shipping a release that has a big static thing that doesn't really change, they're going to be uploading that more often. But
I mean, like you're like repacking a tarball, a huge tarball, is like computationally quite expensive.
yes, not free.
And it's definitely not free. And like just shipping a thing over a local network is usually faster anyway.
What if I'm deploying my releases from dial-up, Ruben?
Okay. Yes, we need a flag.
dash
says-
dial-up.
dash dial-up.
Dash bad internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This code was great back in 2010 when there were some slower internets and like, oh
Well,
man, this is so great.
It's still really useful for dev releases, right? But if you're passing a tarball, you expect a tarball to be uploaded quickly. That's at least
Not me, because I know how it works. I'm like, Bosch is doing all this crazy stuff, pair of mine. Can you believe what it's doing for no good reason?
Gives you a chance to chat. I do wonder if it makes sense to preserve the old behavior behind a flag. Like, I think you're probably right to switch the default. I don't know if there's enough of a use case that we would care about in terms of like.
You can just rip it out, and then, I mean, because the code change isn't that big, and then if somebody's like, "Hey, you broke my use case," we can like throw it back as a flag or
I'm
something.
not removing the code, right? Because it's just like we're already checking if there's a path given, right? I just say like when a path is given, then directly go upload it and not go bother with a reader and an archive writer and like all that bullcrap. We preserve that for when you're in a directory, right? And no specific path is given.
Yeah, no, I saw that part. I'm just thinking, I wonder if there's anybody kind of, wonder if there's any value to preserving it behind a
If
flag.
nobody in this call can come up with a use case, then I'm wondering.
What about my dial-up?
Yes.
I have a question. Though. Path, is path always a tarball, or can it be a YAML file?
You should definitely untap the YAML file before you upload it.
If it is a YAML file, then it won't work. Yes, a YAML file, like you can pass a YAML file because you don't want to, then you have a version given basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the else block is about the dealing with finding a version if no version is given.
I don't know if that actually comes through this code path, but maybe. It could be
It's
that
like
that's
the else. Like look at the else there and expand that code a bit.
Down here? No.
No.
This
up
one.
That
This
one.
one.
That one. That one. That's the else, right? So here it's gonna do the find release. Ops name version.
But
Believe
version wouldn't, I guess.
This code is also arcane. There's release there. Line 93. There we have a release there. There it finds a directory.
Right. And that's, yeah.
And that's where it finds the release.
Finds the release. Yes. You broke this use case that I tell people about, and they're like, you can do what now? It is a reasonable use case. I mean, it's still, oh, does it just break that? This probably just breaks that. It just tries to upload a YAML file, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Bosch is going to be happy about that.
Back to the drawing board. But I mean, like, general, this seems like a useful thing, right?
I think
if given a tarball.
Something to avoid, yeah.
It would definitely speed up our deployments a lot, right? Because
Bosch, the CLI already, when it wait, does the CLI repack those things? Does it compress?
No matches? Yes,
does it compress them though?
still, it's a lot of writing, right?
It
Because
is
it's
writing.
like
I'm just wondering. I don't think it compresses because I think I checked this at one point because it's a bunch of
Oh.
tarballs and you're putting tarballs inside of another tarball, and if you try to compress the outer tarball, you end up with a bigger thing than if you don't compress it, and it takes a long time. I don't think the
Yeah.
CLI does that, but maybe when I review this, I'll double check that.
Yeah, it's still copying things around.
Yeah, but if it's copying and
Right.
compressing, it's like the worst.
Even worse. Yeah.
See what we do with the freaking stem cells. We also package it and then package it again. So
Wait, do we? Well, some of them. Is that true? Some of the image formats probably aren't compressed, right? We'll
like
probably get...
most of, like 99% of them. Just I don't know why. It's just something from the past, and we're still doing it.
Yeah, I found that like nearly a decade ago at this point in our internal, our pivotal stuff for Ops Manager, that our tiles we ship to customers, that it's mostly just a bunch of Bosch releases, and we were compressing it, and it wasted like 10 minutes and made the file size bigger. I'm like, and then we had to do the same thing on the other side. I'm like, what if we stopped? What if we stopped? All right. Well, this column didn't get any smaller, but it is a column.
Yeah.
All right. Promotions tab.
What is the max that we can have in that column?
I don't know.
We'll kind of find out. It's only 14 people. We have 16 in the done column here.
Yeah,
in
we get
promotions.
Julian back on the team.
Oh, nice. I was not aware.
Yes, we're getting many people back on the team. As some people leave, some people are coming back. Matthew Coker is supposed to be joining us. He's out on leave right now, but that'll be some good historical context joining.
Yep.
That was a long time ago.
He's been around. He's been doing, I don't even know what it's called now. Logging stuff. I was gonna say Loggergator, but like, isn't most of Loggergator ripped out at this point?
They're trying. I think OpenTelemetry is the new.
Oh, maybe he wasn't even doing logging stuff on that side. Maybe it was just metrics. I don't know. I don't know what he's been doing. Stuff. Definitely stuff and things. I delayed long enough. Julian in there. All right. That was promotions. Take a look at issues. See if we have anything from the last week. It's the 10th. This is... Oh, right. Somebody was looking at this. Who was looking? Julian was looking at this. Look at that. Already pulling his weight. This is the crazy BPM thing that the MySQL team found when running out of Bosch lights. He found some sort of like Warden mount points doing double mounting. So when you unmount one, it unmounts the other two. He's not sure if it's like related or not, but he found something, which is more than's been done on this issue this year, apparently.
There's definitely been problems in BPM historically with double mounting things. So this seems like a
Likely.
likely problem. My guess is that the mount points, the per VM mount points will probably need to be like isolated from each other, like kind of cloned down one level or something, so that the operations that are VM specific can like be in isolation from any other operations. But
Yeah.
who knows how that even works?
Aaram does. Aaram helped write that. You definitely remember.
I definitely remember.
This is, I think, the PR that we were just looking at. Just bubble IPv6 stuff. Lifecycle hooks can make the agent unresponsive. That sounds old. What was new on it? A field to... Oh yeah, the nicing. Right.
Yeah,
So they're
we
gonna...
discussed this last time.
Yeah.
I see Bosch utils. Like we can skip this.
This is like this is important. It's making the agent break. I don't know why we haven't seen this more often. Probably don't care. Probably just like VM gets recreated and eventually it wins. But
It's IPv6 is weird anyways within as we discussed like last year, like within the agent and within the stem cells that's going to just reboot the freaking VM,
yeah,
set some kernel parameters.
yeah,
Yeah.
same things. Totally same things. So, yeah,
Totally same things to do.
nothing in there. Oh, the inbox. Wait, these are all Aram. Upgrade Ginkgo V1 to V2 and Dav CLI. Open for contributions. That one's low hanging fruit too. I've done that way too many times. Bosch bootloader CI inv. This seems like an important repo.
This was something that we used, I think, with the when it was bootloader was still maintained by Pivotal
Yeah, that sounds likely.
a long time ago.
How do we archive a repo? Do we make a PR to the community?
Yeah, and set archive to true on it and remove it from our working group. And then find TOC people that are not on vacation to approve it.
I don't know. The ones on vacation are far more likely to push the button without thinking.
Maybe to simplify things, we can open one PR for all the repos here.
Yeah, that's true.
If we think that they should be archived.
I think the person who raised this could also just watch the recording of this call.
Once I'm awake, I'll look over the recording.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. And then the coffee kicks in.
One.
Maybe if there's anybody on the team
Oh,
who
this isn't used? This sounds like something that should be used.
This is compiled. We don't do we do no, we do have compiled releases in the.
I think this is all. This is already. Aren't we consuming this within WebIO?
Bosch
we
deployment, right?
compiled. Bosch deployment has compiled releases, but it's probably not using this repo anymore.
I guess not. But why should we change it 2 years ago? I don't have any memory of this. I guess this was just Bosch, which is weird. This must have been something in the director pipeline that we ripped out.
Yeah,
Hmm, who knew?
probably we switched to agent compilation or something, or the directorless compilation at some point.
Yeah, that could be.
Sounds about right. This is a year ago.
Probably just have it versioned resource that we just override each time. It's only used in the pipeline now, rather than persistent repo that tracks all dev compiled versions.
But Beyhan, it would be maybe nice to have something like this in our org automation that will show that there's like repos without any activity, right?
Why? We
Because
got
we are
Aram.
looking for, yeah, but we are looking for people without like contributions. We already do that, right? But maybe we should do the same for repos.
Yeah,
Bosch
sounds
CPI
reasonable.
KB?
Yeah. We can
Knowledge base.
yes.
Okay.
Oh, knowledge base. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
what about all this super relevant knowledge?
No, but
There's
what about like V3 of the CPI, right? Like, why is that not? That should be in here.
PRs are welcome,
This is
Ruben.
oh, this is how it works. What's this?
But is this maybe be consumed by the docs or something?
No.
When
No.
when we compile the docs?
No. this, if anything is in here is valuable, it should be in the docs. But given the fact that it hasn't been committed to in 8 years and nobody's looked at it, I'm pretty sure nothing in here is super valuable.
Well, I mean, like we're not gonna delete it anyway, right? We're gonna just archive
Archive it,
and
yeah.
remove. So
And it's
and-
probably better, like whatever's in here, like Docker, like this is not true, probably. I mean, part of that was true because it just said Docker images are built by CI.
let's leave it here so that the
Yes, and
LLMs when they get trained get like false knowledge about Bosch.
And then Noble update. I saw Beyhan, you mentioned that this CFD is just waiting for a new release of Diego.
Run C. Yeah.
Oh, run C.
Yeah.
Which will
Nice.
solve the DNS issue.
They had
No,
to-
we're way past that.
Metrics.
Oh, the metrics. Oh, the metrics thing. Yeah.
So they had to go upstream in run C and fix something there.
No, I think it was just in the
No,
release.
no, they have some issues with the automation release.
It was C group
pipelines.
related, shockingly, I
Yeah.
think.
So they need to C group V2 related. They need to use a different metric to get the information.
Yeah.
I feel like we really missed an opportunity to create B groups for Bosch.
No.
Could have had our own containerization.
All right. And then we'll have a Noble. Garden run C release. Just double check.
Well, we have an opportunity next year for the new release. So
2 months. Right. Like that's what I was thinking about today. I'm like, we're about to ship Noble and we're about 12 months away from the next
Yeah.
one. Good news. We
will start
developed
next
a
year in
cycle.
January.
That's where we can do all the stuff we wanted to do for Noble. Monet
Yeah.
replacement, etc.
Finally remove Monet.
IPv6 only.
All right. Anybody have anything else? All right. That's the meeting. It's been great working with you all.
See ya.
Yeah,
I'll still be in
you will
CF
be
Slack
missed.
hanging
Well-
around.
We're still going to pull you in on PRs, Joseph.
Thanks. Yes. There will be a PR very soon to remove me from the working group.
Not approved.
Definitely not approved.
We'll just leave it there for at least a year.
Yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, I don't have time. Like we learned from the best, right? Like, oh, sorry, yeah, I got distracted, didn't have time to do it today. We'll definitely do it tomorrow. Like
Yes.
that's a valid response, right?
I've never said anything like that.
We'll do it later today. Yes.
Oh. All right. See y'all.